And on that note, rival fans of Chelsea got a New Year gift via the sack of Enzo Maresca, who we felt is a very good coach for Chelsea, but apparently the Chelsea board and some of their fans, they have a different ideas, and then they insisted that Enzo Maresca had to go, although it was said to have been mutual. But what is mutual about a person leaving a juicy position, especially 6 months after he became world champions in the competition they had, the Club World Cup they had in America. So I'm looking forward to how the season would be for Chelsea. I'm hoping they get a quality coach, because we don't want excuses where at the end of the season, if they don't get to do as um, they are not if they are not as prosperous, let me use that word, as they want to be. Let's say they don't make the top four, they don't even qualify for Europe at all. We don't want to hear that it was because they lost their coach. The Chelsea board knew what they were doing before they allowed him go on New Year's Day, after weeks of speculations that he was being scouted by Manchester City. But away from that, Nigeria faces Mozambique in the round of 16 of the Nations Cup. And don't forget that the Super Eagles of Nigeria were the only team alongside Algeria that finished with maximum points in the group stage. We finished with 9 points. And we are playing the Mozambicans, who finished third from Group F. They were beaten on New Year's Eve by the Indomitable Lions of Cameroon by 2-1. And we're facing them, and I hope that we are going to beat them. Our coach already won the coach of the group stage, and then on the best 11 of the group stage, we had arguably our best player so far in the Nations Cup, the person of former African Footballer of the Year, Lookman. And I said it at the beginning of the season, that at the beginning of the Nations Cup rather, that we should be looking at Ademola Lookman, Iwobi, even Samuel Chukwueze as the people who would be our key men for this tournament. We should not be looking at Osimehn. We should be feeding Osimehn with balls to get him the goals, but he should not be our best player, our focal point. And so far, so good. It's as if Eric Chelle has listened to our cries, and he has played to the strengths of other players, and we've won our game so far. Because the thing is that if you play too much to your center forward, it will be marked out of the game. But if you play to the strength of other players, they'll be able to create chances for him. And that's what I've seen so far. But away from that, I've also noticed that our defense has been shaky. We've not kept a clean sheet in the Nations Cup, even though the results are not looking very spectacular, but we've played exceptionally well in this competition. We've dominated all our games. But the only issue I had was that I was expecting the coach to rotate the goalkeepers. So I was expecting Uzor to play the second game and Amas Obasogie to play the third game. But the coach Chelle stuck with Stanley Nwabali for the first and second game and gave game time to Francis Uzor in the third game, which means that we might not see a single minute of Amas's performance at this Nations Cup, which is not a good thing for him, because he ought to have at least a cap or two in this event. But at the end of the day, it's a team sport, and I think he's performing really well in training, and is helping his teammates keep up standards. And I hope that this is a Nations Cup that will actually bring home. And this is why I believe that the Super Eagles has to, because it is unfortunate to me that we've played 3 games so far, we've won all 3 games, and we've not had a clean sheet. So I think we should be looking at playing with confidence, and we should not lose focus. We should be switched on at all times, especially the defense and the midfield. If we can, our last Nations Cup, we played with a very strong defensive base. It was hard to score against us, although we were scoring 1 goals per game, and then maybe 2 goals once or twice. And now we are beginning to score. We are playing free-flowing football under Eric Chelle, but we are not keeping clean sheets. We have to start doing that. And also, we need to have a system where it seems most of our attacks, they come from individual play. We toss the ball around, and then we find it very hard to break down our opponents until there is a stroke of luck from our attackers. We should have a system where our center forwards, especially Osimehn, they has to be fair. They has to, and the reason is that to improve his CV as one of the top strikers in the world, he should come out with this, from this competition with the golden boots as the best scorer of the tournament. And so far so good. He's had just one goal, so we should be looking at feeding him. Should be looking at ensuring that he has a lot of goals in this tournament, and that would ensure that we win the tournament, because that's obviously our focus. If we can have Osimehn scoring, and then we can have a defense that is very mean, that does not like to concede goals, then we are home and dry. And then as for the Mozambican team, I watched them play against Cameroon, and I was very, very impressed. They played a very compact 4-2-3-1, and they gave the Cameroonians a run for their money. It was a very interesting game, and even though at the end of the day they finished third with just 3 points from the group, they gave a very good account of themselves. It showed from the way they played against the Cameroonians. It was obvious that they are very physical, they are very fast, and they can challenge for the balls. At the end of the day, I think they lost by just small margins. They had equal possessions with the Cameroonians. They sweated, they covered every blade of grass, and they just lost due to fine margins. And we will not have the beauty of the knockout stage is that you do not have the luxury of making mistakes and coming back from them. So if we are not switched on playing these Mozambican teams who are very, very deadly, we're going to end up losing that game, and I don't want to see that. So we have to be switched on. We have to understand the threats that they pose, and we have to try our best to neutralize that threat. I hope we do that. I am hoping to see a convincing display from our boys against Mozambique, and then we can start looking at the next stage, which is the quarterfinals, hopefully the finals, and then the finals. So thank you very much. Please don't forget to subscribe and like our videos and share with your friends, and also engage us, tell us what you think, and in fact, fact check us in the comments. Thank you very much.